Welcome to BETV. Today we're going to be talking about the cost of buying and selling a home. So when selling a property, there aren't too many upfront costs that you'll need to kind of bear in mind. Estate agent fees are typically payable on completion, so there'll be no sale, no fee. So it's relatively low cost to kind of get your property on the market. You will need a EPC, an energy performance certificate, and typical cost of something like that is around £60. You do need one of those prior to marketing the property, or at least have ordered one. Other fees when selling a property are your conveyancing fees with the solicitor, and you need to shop around as you'll get kind of varied quotes, but typically this will be in the region of £1,000. If your property is a leasehold or it may be freehold but has a service charge attached to it, something like the properties in Fernwood, then you may need to pay for a kind of seller's pack from the managing company like Firstport. This could be anywhere around about £300, but again, you'll need to make inquiries on that. When selling a property, if your property is empty, you also got to consider things like additional insurance premiums for empty properties and void properties. You will also have council tax, utility bills, things like that to consider. One other thing when selling a property, if you have a mortgage, you need to check whether there's any early repayment charges. This can be up to kind of 3% of the total balance of the loan. So always factor that in and check to make sure that you're not going to be ending up with hefty penalties for selling your property and redeeming your mortgage early. And then finally, when selling a property, you're going to need removals. So again, shop around, make sure you've got people available. It's always difficult when trying to kind of plan completions because things sometimes can take a bit longer than originally anticipated. But shop around, get them booked in and penciled in. So for buyers, you have a bit more of an outlay when buying a property. Once your sale agreed, one of the first steps will be to get your mortgage underway. Mortgage application for a broker may be up to about anywhere between £300 to £500. Sometimes it's payable up front or on completion or mortgage offer. So you need to bear that in mind. When applying for mortgages, you will have a survey. Sometimes the fee is payable up front, others provide free surveys. So again, your mortgage broker will kind of check that out. But in addition to that, you may want to have a building survey to understand the condition of the property that you're buying. And they have different levels of surveys and obviously different costs. So they can vary anywhere between £300 to £1,000, but it will depend on your property size and style and cost. Along with your mortgage, you will typically have an arrangement fee. This is usually added to the loan, but sometimes you can pay that up front, but it'll usually be about 1% of the mortgage price. And with your conveyancing, your legal fees are going to be around about £1,000, but do shop around because all solicitors will vary. You will have additional costs in terms of search fees and disbursements, so that can add an extra kind of £300-400 on top. If you're buying a leasehold property, again, there will be additional costs with your conveyancing, but they'll spell that out once you speak to them. Can be anywhere between £200 to £400 as well. Another cost which you are liable as buyers is a stamp duty. So at the moment, there is a bit of an amnesty going off. However, a typical purchase for £182,000, you'll be paying 2% of the amount over and above 125. So that would work out at £1,140. So if you are kind of mid-purchase and hoping to take advantage of the stamp duty amnesty, just make sure you have got the funds kind of set aside just in case the purchase does overrun slightly. You don't want to have a situation where you might complete or there's a delay because you're trying to raise those funds. So just to summarise, as a buyer, you will have your mortgage broker fee, the mortgage survey fee and any building survey fee, possibility of an arrangement fee on your mortgage, your legal fees as well as searches and disbursements, any leasehold charges, and of course your stamp duty charges. So make sure you budget for all of these. And then as sellers, you will have your EPC, your legal fees, any leasehold charges, your estate agent fee, and of course any early repayment charges for your mortgage. always set your budget and plan accordingly. And as I said, always plan for the worst case scenario, because things do go wrong, unfortunately, in property transactions. If you'd like any more information about buying or selling process, feel free to contact us on 01636 343 014.